Niacin's role in longevity is one of the best-kept secrets in the anti-aging field, an overlooked cornerstone of cellular health that has been quietly pushed aside in favor of flashier, patentable, and vastly more expensive compounds. At the heart of this story is NAD+, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, the essential molecule that fuels many of the body's anti-aging defenses. Niacin, as one of the original vitamin B3 forms, is a direct and reliable precursor to NAD+, yet it is rarely acknowledged in the context of modern longevity science. Instead, attention and funding are overwhelmingly directed toward compounds like nicotinamide riboside, NR, and nicotinamide mononucleotide, NMN. Molecules that, while promising, are costly, less accessible, and not necessarily more effective. NAD+ is central to nearly every function that keeps cells youthful and resilient. It powers enzymes involved in energy metabolism, DNA repair, inflammation suppression, and mitochondrial maintenance. As we age, NAD+ levels naturally decline, which leads to weaker cellular function, higher oxidative stress, more DNA damage, and metabolic slowdown. This decline is now recognized as one of the fundamental hallmarks of aging, and restoring NAD+ has become a major target in longevity research. Niacin, particularly in its nicotinic acid and nicotinamide forms, directly feeds the body's NAD+ pool. Once ingested, it is converted through well-mapped biochemical pathways into NAD+, supplying the fuel needed for enzymes like sirtuins and PARPs, two classes of proteins intimately involved in the aging process. Sirtuins, often referred to as longevity genes, regulate gene expression, promote DNA stability, and enhance stress resistance. But they are entirely dependent on adequate NAD+ levels to function. Without NAD+, these genes are dormant, regardless of your genetics or lifestyle. So, why has niacin been sidelined in the anti-aging narrative? The answer lies partly in economics, partly in perception, and partly in science communication. NR and NMN are novel, brandyable molecules, each with corporate backing, clinical trials, and marketing strategies aimed at the supplement and biotech industries. They promise a high-tech solution to a universal problem and are priced accordingly. Meanwhile, niacin is cheap, decades old, and unpatentable. It lacks the financial incentives that drive modern supplement development and scientific publication. This economic bias has bled into research priorities. Despite niacin's proven ability to raise NAD+ and activate the same longevity pathways as NR and NMN, it is underrepresented in aging studies. Even when it is studied, results are often dismissed or overlooked, not because they are weak, but because they don't fit the cutting-edge narrative. The irony is striking. The most accessible and well-understood NAD+ precursor is also the most ignored in the public conversation about aging. To be fair, niacin does have limitations. At high doses, particularly in its nicotinic acid form, it can cause the flushing reaction that many people find unpleasant. This discomfort has led some to prefer non-flushing alternatives like NR or NMN. But flushing is not a marker of danger. It is a temporary vascular response that can often be managed with dose titration or using nicotinamide instead. Niacinamide does not cause flushing and still raises NAD+ levels effectively, though it may have slightly different downstream effects compared to nicotinic acid. What makes niacin especially powerful is its versatility. It doesn't just boost NAD+, it improves cholesterol levels, reduces systemic inflammation, supports detoxification, protects against cognitive decline, and even enhances joint mobility. It is a holistic molecule that works across multiple aging pathways, not just one. This broad-spectrum support is exactly what is needed in a field as complex and multifactorial as aging. And yet, because it's inexpensive and lacks the allure of innovation, it remains in the shadows. In a just and evidence-driven health system, niacin would be positioned as a foundational NAD+ precursor, perhaps as a first-line intervention before exploring more expensive options. It would be included in longevity protocols, aging clinics, and metabolic health strategies. It would be studied head-to-head against NR and NMN, not assumed to be inferior based on market perception. And it would be respected not because it is trendy, but because it is biologically essential. Ultimately, the niacin versus NR/NMN debate is not just about molecular pathways. It's about access, honesty, and scientific integrity. Niacin may not be flashy, but it is powerful. It is affordable, effective, and grounded in decades of biochemical evidence. If the goal is to age well, protect DNA, energize cells, and maintain resilience across decades, then niacin deserves a central place in the conversation, not as an outdated vitamin, but as a quiet cornerstone of long-term cellular vitality.